ruins of the Bannerman Castle. Just mind-blowing, as we can see here, and thought we'd come back and have a little look. Just amazing to imagine what kind of people who found it necessary to build this on a little island, and we'll get into that, in North America. But before we look at any of that, I want to share this article I found on Gary Shunung, and we'll just look at some of his pictures and sites as we read what he had to say. From the brink of extinction, ruins of old Earth. The reason that we can't understand how ancient people with no technology, machinery, or even decent tools could have accomplished what they seem to have been able to do is very simple. They didn't do it. They occupied and used what was available to them from before a near extinction event occurred. Some of what they were able to use had become exposed by time and erosion. I think that long before that time, the world population had grown way beyond what we currently think is possible for our realm to support. Forgive me, I changed that part. With the methods in use today, there is simply not enough room for all the housing, industry, and agriculture required to support a population of that size. The most important consideration to be able to support an extremely large population would be the ability to provide enough food. There's no way to work around the fact that agriculture requires sunlight and a reliable source of water. There needed to be a way to have enough room for all the people and a way to ensure a reliable source for all the food that was needed. Pyramids are the key to understanding how that problem was solved. In places where erosion had exposed them, the visible evidence varies depending on how much has been exposed and eroded. In spite of that fact, if you spend a little time comparing them, they leave behind very identifiable footprints as they erode away. Evidence in this video suggests that a pyramid was an architectural support. The steps of a pyramid supported levels for habitation and industry below the surface. Other functions that appear to have been incorporated into their design include control of networked irrigation and drainage systems and access to other levels. And I have the goosebumps just imagining this superstructure he's talking about. The methods in use at the time would solve many of the problems that we face today. This time, back then, with land everywhere, like you need to sign a damn plan to build a prison on an island. And let me just show you this island. Here we telling us they wanted to build a prison out here, but it fell through. And yet, look at this. This looks like some sort of video game, fantasy land. Again, if you remember me showing the prison in Salt Lake City in 1850, it was a castle, just a beautiful castle. And I've said in many of my videos, military posts and munitions depots always get the castles. Of course, if you were inheriting and designating every leftover building, it would certainly not leave these to the peasants. They would be forced to build little shanties and log huts. And what about this Bannerman? We have this name Bannerman all over this island and castle. Francis Bannerman was born in 1851. Of course, right when things really start rolling in our narrative. Anything before this date and taking the history seriously is a waste of time. can only gather clues before this date. This is the actual date of when it seems our narrative is beginning. Yet if we're reading it on the internet as here, it's still going to be packed full of lies. He immigrated to the United States with his parents in 1854. His grandfather was from Scotland. The family moved to Brooklyn. These people, in this time period, you're not going far. It's not like you're jumping on a plane and just flying around, and even if you were able to do such things, where's all the money coming from? But no, these people just leave Ireland, move to Brooklyn, and began a military surplus business. Come on. You just get into the military surplus business in 1854, fresh off the boat from Ireland? Yes, that is what they tell us. At the end of the Civil War, he began buying up military equipment. 1897, they opened up a business on Broadway. The business bought weapons directly from the Spanish government before it evacuated Cuba. You just can't make deals like this in this time period. There's no phone, there's no internet. Making a deal with another country to purchase their old military equipment? Yes, that is what they tell us. And in 1900, Mr. Bannerman bought an island. This island. And if Monopoly wasn't such a small board game, the next step would have been to purchase an island. They tell us because his storeroom in New York City was not large enough to provide a safe location for his 30 million surplus munitions cartridges, he began building a castle plus. And what a stupid story. And going back to my last video on Pompeii, I would say that a structure like this is easily 1,000 years old, just sitting in this condition the whole time. The whole story is complete BS. And what else could I say about this glorious castle? Surely it's absolutely strange, even to the layman. Hence why there are so many beautiful photographs of it, invoking an absolute sense of mystery and wonderment. And as excited as I am, I'm equally terrified that somebody has plans to take a wrecking ball to this. Simply the most beautiful castle I've seen today, or at least in the last couple weeks. How many millions of bricks in this absolutely early time period? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stories for this armory. Certainly if I was tasked to build an armory, it would only be 1 story. Very dangerous before the elevator to be hauling explosives up and down flights of stairs. And sometimes I think I've seen it all, or heard it all. And then one photograph comes along, like the one that led me to this quest today. And here you go. Here are the remains of the old world, not of a ammunition warehouse. How stupid and insulting. And then things like this. What if things like this? Where did this fit into their narrative? Again, made of brick and facade and ornamentation, like a craft that has all but been lost in our time.